Yo, what's up? This is Alex coming to you from Bumblefuck, Pennsylvania. I call it the pussy black hole because when you go here, you're not getting laid. You only have families and kids. You know what I'm saying? You don't have single girls. You got packages. You got family deals, man. You can't get a single girl, man. She always, at least one of them had one kid. Sorry about that. Anyways, so let's talk about how to learn. All right. This is actually, let's get my gum down, one of the most important skills that most people fail to learn. And the reason why most people fail to learn how to learn is because they don't understand that your intelligence isn't measured by how much you know something, right? It's measured by how easily you can learn. For example, you see, somebody isn't smart because they know something. Somebody's smart because they're able to get a concept and from scratch learn it, okay? So for example, what do I mean by learning? I'm not talking about the casual learning in terms of reading a book and remembering what the book said. That's not learning, okay? That's just reciting shit. Learning is a skill set, like marketing. Learning a skill set, like basketball. Learning a skill set, like fucking. Learning a skill set, like even reading itself is a skill set, like reading how to read, right? So why do most people suck at things? The reason why most people suck at things is because they don't know how to learn. They think that experiencing pain when you first suck at something means that's where they're gonna be forever. For example, when I began how to play basketball, right? I sucked at playing basketball for many years, I really did. And the reason why I sucked at playing basketball is because I didn't know how to learn. I thought that if you just shot the ball, just shot the ball, like just randomly practicing, that you're gonna get good. Actually, that wasn't the case. It got to the point where people were telling me, dude, why do you always suck? And I was like, that's a good question. Why do I always suck? But they weren't asking to help me. They were asking me because, they were trying to talk shit. But they were fucking right. Why did I always suck? Because for years, I would suck. I would see kids who were 4 years old, who were like 5 years old, who were like 10, and then they get better than me after 3 years. And that's fucking embarrassing. So then I said to myself, okay, what the fuck am I doing wrong? I've then said to myself, all right, what do most people who are good at basketball do that most people who are good at basketball, who suck at basketball, don't do? One simple concept. They did what they felt when they practiced, they were uncomfortable. They realized that in order to feel good, you got to consistently become and put yourself in stressful situation. For example, what was my stressful situation? When I always began to play basketball, I would always just randomly shoot the ball from like 10 feet away. So what did I do? I said to myself, who is the best shooter right now? Who's the best shooter? Okay. And then I find out, what does he do differently than most people? Just simply find the best example and then find out what's the one thing they do differently and practice that fundamental. The problem is that a lot of people don't realize that the flashiness and the finesse comes from simplicity. Complex objects are made by simple things. You see, objects like matter is not made out of matter, it's made out of vibrations, like subatomic particles vibrating at different frequencies, right? And so a lot of the skills you see is an accumulation of simple fundamentals. The problem is that people think that that they could just build the building without building it one brick at a time. So this is how one brick at a time is. So what I noticed is that the best shooters shot the ball systematically. They first practice shooting the ball with one hand, right? They will start shooting under the rim, right? 1 feet, and then shoot, and then take 1 foot back after 5 shots they made, and then keep going back and back. You see, so it's a progression. First with one hand, and then after that, they will include the other hand, the guide hand. So then they will be shooting with 2 hands, right? The guide hand and the other ball, right? So then I will practice that from 1 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, consistently. Most of my practice was from 1 feet to 6 feet away. And why was I doing that? Because I was practicing the fundamentals of shooting. The fundamentals of shooting isn't dribble, and shoot. The fundamental is this, the last step, right? So I practiced, and actually when I began doing that, I got fucking good. I just began shooting like crazy. I got so good, it was insane, right? And so that's one thing that I didn't want to do because it was repetitive. So why was I not getting good? It wasn't because I wasn't practicing. It was because I was just not deliberately practicing. What does deliberate practice mean? Deliberate practice means focusing on the one aspect that you suck and focusing on practicing what you weaken on a consistent basis. So for example, I applied that to marketing. I began asking myself, okay, so who is the best marketer? Okay, I found out who's the best marketer. Then I found out what's the one thing that the best marketers do that most marketers don't do. Like, out of all the things, what's the biggest thing that they do? You know what that is? It wasn't that they wrote the best. They did the most research. They knew their audience more. That one aspect separated all of the other marketers. So I said to myself, okay, rather than focusing on everything, learn how to know your audience. Learn how to do your research. Get good at doing your research, and everything will fall into place. The reason why most people will neglect the research is because it's the part that looks like you're not making progress. You're not writing anything, right? You're not doing anything that looks like you're making progress. You're actually just studying. And so, for example, so when I was playing basketball, I would say, why am I doing this? I'm not doing the cool moves. No, relax. Wax on, wax off. Find the fundamental and master the fundamental. You see? So in another aspect, let me see, like in working out, right? Most people work out the wrong way. Why? Because they don't focus on the fundamentals. What do everyone says? What's the number one? What are the most important exercises that everyone just neglects to do? Squats, front squats, not back squat. Front squats, deadlifts, shoulder thing, and the bend over row. I mean, and benching on a bar. So what do most people do? The first one, they use machines. And everyone says the most important thing, use weights, free weights. Most people do machines because of what? It's more comfortable. Then they find out the exercises that produces the less pain. So what does that mean? They don't work on their legs. So then you have guys who have big arms but weak legs. They're not symmetrical. You see? And so they don't find out that the fundamentals of working out is symmetry. You find out the fundamental, or what looks good, and you do it. So a lot of people are just guided by what interests them. You see? They feel insecure about their arms, so they work on their arm. They feel insecure about their handle, so they work on handling the rock, but they fail to learn how to shoot. But if they find out that the most important thing in basketball is scoring the ball, focus on being a better shooter first. And then everything will fall into place. Focus on being symmetric, finding out the exercises that has the most output with the minimal input, and you'll find out that you'll get results faster at a faster rate than most people. Why? Because all you do is the fundamentals, which is deadlifts, squats, benching, bend over rows, and the one where you put the bar like this, right? And that fixes the whole body, and it requires less time, right? And so when you find out that to learn, you just have to find what's the most important thing I have to learn, and keep practicing that more than most people. It's that simple. For example, when it came to learning how to talk to girls, you know what I did? I found out what's the biggest thing that causes me to fuck up when I talk to girls. And what's the one tactic that I use that produces the most results? So rather than focusing on 20 tactics, I narrowed it down to one tactic that I would focus on, and then narrow my focus on the one mistake that I consistently do. So rather than focusing on learning how to talk better, my posture, or learning how to have interesting conversation, my focus was more narrowed, and so my energy was more relaxed. So what was that? I found out that the biggest reason why most guys fuck up when talking to girls, they overthink. So what did I do? I practiced mindfulness. That fixed that issue instantly. What was the biggest mistake that I was doing? Was that I was seeking validation, right? I was trying to get happiness from them. So what did I do? I practiced mindfulness. I became my own source of positive emotions, right? And I began, rather than saying, how can I impress her? I began asking myself, what can I say right now to have fun, right? I just focused on that aspect. Instant results, faster results. Everything just flowed from that. So hopefully that makes sense, right? See, I'm not really, is anybody commenting? Nobody's like commenting, they're like, shut. But yeah, man, that's how it's done. And I hope that makes sense. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm just gonna one of the things that I'm planning to do is put out self-help courses, put it on my website, and just give like little self-help courses on like mindfulness or on productivity. It is easier said than done. It's easier said than done. But if you cannot do it realistically, do it in your mind first. Start rehearsing it in your mind. If you cannot do it because doing it, rehearse it in your mind first. It's called mental rehearsal. You can read the book called Psycho-Cybernetics. It talks about that. I also may like even put out a course on Psycho-Cybernetics because I always talk about it, stuff like that. Yeah. Anyways, let me see. Yeah, don't overthink things, and yeah, I'm just reading the comments. But anyways, I'm about to leave right now because there's people around, and I don't want them to think I'm crazy and shit. All right, bye bye.